Welcome to the channel. As you might know, the game Everspace 2 had a huge patch release on Monday, along with some DLC. I haven't gotten the DLC yet, but I did download the patch, and when I say huge patch, it was about 25 gigabytes of download, so it took me a little while, but got the patch installed now. And what we'd like to see is, does this patch improve performance on the MSI Claw Ultra 5 model? Now, the reason it might improve the patch, performance with the patch, is that we have FSR with frame generation, which actually helped performance a lot on Cyberpunk on this very same system. They've also updated XeSS or XS, I don't know what Intel wants you to call it, to a new version. So we'll test that out as well. But if you want to see pre-patch performance, I actually do have another video where I compare Everspace 2 on the Claw with Everspace 2 on the Steam Deck. So I'll link that in the description so you can get a look at the performance unpatched. But before we get started, just some software version notes. We're using, as of this video's filming, I believe the latest BIOS firmware and Intel graphics drivers that are available for the Claw. The BIOS and firmware came from MSI. The Intel graphics driver was downloaded from Intel's website. So these are the relevant software versions. We're going to take a look at a couple of different performance scenarios here. And I should mention, each one of these has up to 10 minutes of gameplay, so this is going to be a long video. But if you would like to skip around to see what you actually want, I have timestamps available, so you should be able to skip to what you need to see. First up, we're going to take a look at Everspace 2 at 720p low settings with the FSR with frame generation enabled. And just to get an idea of what kind of frame rate we can get, I've set it to uncapped frame rate. Usually I play this at cap 60 because it can save a little power too. And for the most part, on the earlier version, I wasn't getting much above 60 frames per second anyway. So we're going to have it uncapped here. But why low settings? Well, I want to get maximum performance out of it. And let's see what we can get at 720p with this new FSR with frame generation.
It appears that there is an enemy base in this area.
Surrounded by hostiles and taking fire. Request immediate assistance. We've got more company.
You're holding up very well.
Nice to hear something supportive from you, High, for a change. I'll need more than luck to get me out of this.
Indeed, since luck is only a figment of the imagination.
We're safe. Thank you.
if you're comparing to the previous video that was before the Everspace 2 update, you can see that performance is very much improved on the 720p setting. And certainly what you could take advantage of this is limit to 60 frames per second, and then just turn from performance mode, which is what I filmed this at, to balanced, or maybe even try the battery saver mode, see what you get out of that. And that would hopefully increase the playtime a bit if you're on battery, because one of the things about these PC handhelds is that they don't have great battery life. And despite MSI's marketing, I don't think the Claw has really much better battery life than something like the Ally. But you can see a pretty good performance improvement here. And if you set the FSR settings to maximum performance instead of balance, which is what I have here, I actually saw the game hitting 120 frames per second frequently. It didn't keep it that way, but I did see some higher performance then. But I usually keep it on balance just to hopefully make the graphics look a little better. Up next, we're going to look at, since we got so much of a performance boost at 720p, I figured we would take a look at it at 1080p instead. So this is still going to be FSR uncapped, same overall settings, aside from changing the resolution to 1080p as we had in the previous gameplay segment. But let's take a look and see if we can maintain some of that performance at 1080p.
I am registering an unexpected enemy base in the vicinity. Good shot.
Okay, buckle up. Hello, this Nifty Station?
You're speaking to Nifty Station?
Job's complete.
Good.
I want my payment.
Signature's fine. Here you go.
Hello? Hello? Seems like the scientist is still busy. I'll just help myself to it then.
it's probably worth noting here that at 1080p, the performance that I'm getting here is pretty similar to what I saw at 720p pre-patched. So if you want, you can keep the same performance you had before and up the resolution and get better looking graphics, or you can keep the same resolution and get much better performance. So it's kind of a choice here. It's certainly playable at 1080p. It's just that the claw can't hold quite the same high frame rate all the time that you would get playing it at 720p. Up next, we'll take a look at the Intel version of all this. So we'll look at XeSS version 1.4.7. This is set back to 720p and pretty much the same settings as in my earlier video that showed the claw pitted against the Steam Deck running the same game. But we'll take a look and see if on the XeSS side, whether we get improved performance there as well.
There appears to be a cloaked container in this area. I have no clear reading, but will approximate its location.
Thanks, Ive.
attention of hostiles.
Bloodstar coming to pay me a visit?
By the looks of it, yes.
So one thing we can certainly see here is that the XeSS also got a performance boost on the claw, because if you compare back to the old video, we can definitely see higher possible frame rates, and looks like it will stay pretty steadily, except for in that one little part at 60. So in conclusion, we got some pretty good updates for the claw this week. Not only was there this update to Everspace 2 that increased performance, but there was also an update to Cyberpunk, which actually made Cyberpunk a lot better on the claw. One thing I do want to point out on Everspace 2, though, is if you have FSR enabled, I don't know if you can even tell by looking at this video here because of the camera, but you see these icons right here, the icons indicating where something is. They don't move quite as smoothly with FSR enabled as they do without, although the rest of the graphics are perfectly smooth. It's just these little icons here that don't move quite as smoothly as they do without the FSR frame generation enabled. But aside from that, it looks like frame generation is a pretty big win here in terms of either higher performance or saving your battery. But that's really the only kind of nitpick that I could come up with for this particular update. All the other stuff looks really good. So that about does it for performance testing for the new Everspace 2 update. If you liked the video, please remember to leave a like. If you'd like to see more handheld gaming content, remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions or comments, comment section is always open. See you next video.